Había tanto material de los canales de hinchas de Liverpool por la salida de Lucho Díaz que aquí les traigo la segunda parte. A los que no vieron la primera parte, vayan aquí pueden apretar ahí, ir a verlo y volver a este video. Ya saben, suscríbanse al canal, denle like al video, el pulgarcito me ayuda mucho, hace que el canal crezca. En estos días ha habido muchos suscriptores, bienvenidos al canal. Por cierto, para los que no saben, Golazo no se escribe así, lógicamente. Lazo es mi apellido, por eso es Golazo, porque soy un genio, Golazo. Y otra cosa, acá está la camiseta de James, la que tenía él en el Bayern Múnich, es esa. Esta está la de Liverpool, pues roja la de Liverpool y la del Bayern, así que veremos cuando la reemplace, pero por ahora pues roja y pues está esa de Bayern, ¿cierto? Bueno, los dejo con el video. Aquí está Tom Little, por cierto, al final. Tom Little, a los que siguen mi canal saben quién es Tom Little. No lo ha querido nunca a Lucho Díaz y al final van a ver cómo está de contento. Bueno, y al comienzo está Matt de Kopish. En el video anterior estaba Callum y estuvo Drifty hablando de esto. Y ahora va Matt, que es como el que más le duele la salida de Lucho Díaz. Bueno, los dejo con el video, disfruten y ya les traeré el video de Arias, la introducción que hace un influencer a un hincha de los Wolves, diciéndole y explicándole lo que es John Arias. Todo eso muy pronto, espero, porque siguen saliendo las noticias de Lucho Díaz. Los dejo con el video, nos vemos muy pronto.
Luis Diaz has completed his move to Bayern Munich. There's Lucho, man. It's going to be weird seeing Luis Diaz in a Bayern Munich shirt. And you know what? I think he's going to cook. I generally feel like he's going to cook, you know, bro. I think Diaz was a bit underappreciated in my opinion, but I understand that maybe there was always going to be that element because he was brought in to replace Mane, and you can't replace Mane. Mane is a legend, irreplaceable. But I think for what Diaz done at Liverpool, I personally feel like he had, if you summed up Diaz on a scale at a 1 to 10, I would put Diaz as a 7.5 or an 8 for his Liverpool career. I think he's done really, really well. And I think we will miss him. He's not irreplaceable, though, obviously. He wasn't Sadio Mane, but he was one heck of a player, and he gave everything. He went through a lot. He had a bad injury. You know, his dad got kidnapped. He went through some horrible stuff, and he came through the other side. So Diaz is getting a good paycheck at Bayern, and I think he deserves that, in my opinion. He's one of the best left wingers, in my opinion, in Europe. I know people will keep talking about his age, but for me, 28, 29 don't mean you're finished. Do you know what I mean? I think people kind of, in today's age, in my opinion, people just feel like, oh, once you get 30, it's like it's done. And it's because of Twitter, it's because of FIFA, it's all these things that make people think. But I'm telling you, I don't think Diaz is finished. I know his game does rely on athleticism, agility, and pace, but for me, I think Diaz would do well on his new adventure in Bayern. Do you know what I'm saying? So big up Lucho, man. Hope you do well, my broski. Nothing but respect. Do you know what I'm saying, for Lucho, man?
My opinion on Diaz is I think he was a solid player. I don't think he lived up to the expectations of being the Sadio Mane replacement, shall we say. You know, if I was to have either a prime Mane or a prime Diaz, I know what I'm picking, and it'd be Mane, right?
Luis Diaz. He's out of here, man. He's out of here. He had a good season last season, yeah? But, nah. 65 million for a man who's going to be 29 in January. Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. Bayern Munich can have him now. Bayern Munich can have him. Takes the place out. It can go somewhere else. It is good news for me, man. Good news. Big up the chat, man. I think it's good business. Man.
So I'm sad he's going because I liked him as a player. And I think he would have been a great asset for us next season. But I think we've got the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
I think we've got the best of him as a player, and we've got the highest point of his potential value. Because as much as, like I said, I would have been happy for him to stay in the squad, we have to acknowledge last season was comfortably his best season in terms of output.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily regular. He wasn't regularly hitting those numbers year in, year out. That was his best year by quite a distance. So
17 goals, 5 assists.
yeah. So I don't think he ever got more than 5 assists in any of his seasons.
No, I never know.
So I think you can look at it and say, and I mean, his game wasn't just about the goals and assist numbers. I do get sometimes upset when people just distill a player down to goals and assists. He was about more than that, and I acknowledge that. But I do think that in terms of where he would have been over the course of the next 2 years of his contract, I don't think you can guarantee that it would have continued to go up. It might have stayed the same. It might have gone down. But by getting the amount of money we did for him, you can say, well, we can try and find someone else, or we can try and find another way of getting those numbers. Whoever's in that situation, whether we sign someone else to come in or whether we use someone else who's already in the squad there's an opportunity for those numbers to increase and go on and go on and go on.
But right now, though, where you're like, oh, well, who's going to play on the left then? Gakpo. Well, Gakpo's not like him. And, you know, like you said before, rightly, you know, football isn't just about goals and assists. And there's another stat I've got on the agenda there about he won possession in the final third on 22 occasions, more than any Liverpool player relative to the time spent on the pitch. And you know that from the eye test.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean? He worked his bollocks off. He put something in. You know, he'd have a go. You know, the spirit around them was good, wasn't it? And, you know, again, this is why he had the song and we loved singing the song.
He proves it every time he was on the pitch. He could win it back. He could keep it. He was a fighter. And he had that attitude that you wanted in your players. And yes, stylistically and with output-wise, he was different to Sadio. But in that attitude, in that spirit, he kind of was another Sadio. And that's what I loved about him. So, yeah, it'll be sad that goes. And whoever does come in is going to have to make sure that they have all of that fight in them.
So, Tom, your bestie, Luis Diaz, gone. Bayern Munich. Your thoughts on his price tag, your thoughts on everything.
We done really well out of that deal. We done really well. 65 million for a guy who rejected 2 contract extensions from us. Amazon, you know, I'm happy with that. 28, he was going to be 29. He was after mega money. More than happy to sell him for that price. More than happy. He had a decent. I'll always remember the first 6 months where he was really good. And last season, he put it together for the point in time. I'm more than happy to see him go. I think we've done really well out of that deal. And Colombians should hopefully stop threatening my life.
Why are you so happy that Diaz left? I don't understand.
I'm not... But what do you think I'm dancing... I'm not the level of happiness that will be when Núñez goes, but I'm glad that we're not the club giving him the new contract. I'm glad that there's another club out there giving him a new contract, because I don't think Diaz has kicked on the way he could have done. I think he's hit his limit. And I think Liverpool can upgrade on him, which is what we're doing. Luis Diaz has the inconsistency of a 22-year-old at 28. He's never going to not be inconsistent. I've had enough of it. I've done it with him. He put it all together for a year. Thank you very much. Help me win a league title. But I'm not going to be the one giving you 200 grand a week, because you're not worth it in my eyes. You are not worth 200 grand a week. I can afford now, because I bought Isak, because I bought Ekitike, because I bought Wirtz, to have a guy with potential on the wing who can come into an environment and nurture and develop and kick on, because we don't need him to be smashing it out the park. And even then, I've got my guarantee option in Gakpo. You know my stance. I've always thought Gakpo was better than Diaz. So I think I'm just looking at as backup. What am I looking at for a backup? A good 28-year-old or a 22-year-old with the potential to be much better than the 28-year-old is. I go for that one.